Hey guys, welcome to Crazy Burger. So in this video we're going to be looking at Home Computer Heroes Collection 1 and its compatibility with the Super Pocket. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, so this isn't going to be a review of Home Computer Heroes Collection 1. I've already done that on the Evercade EXP and VS, so if you want to see a review, check out that video instead. I'll leave the link in the description. The whole point of this video is to look at the compatibility with the Super Pocket, just checking the games run okay, make sure there's no issues with controls, small text, that type of thing, so that you know if it's okay to buy for your Super Pocket. Okay, as usual, you need to go to the Evercade section. Obviously have your Home Computer Heroes cart inserted. And let's have a look at the games. So there's 7 games included. Oh, that's the low setting. So there's 7 games included. They've got Attack of the Petsky Robots, Bridge Strike, Citadel Remonstered, Farming Simulator, Planet X2, Tanks Fury or Fury, and The Sword of Ayana. Now, a lot of these games do utilise the shoulder buttons, so that's going to be an issue for a few of these games. But some of the games, I think, might even be better on the Super Pocket than they are on the EXP or the VS, which is kind of interesting to me. So let's have a look at the first game, and this is Attack of the Petsky Robots. Now, this game does utilise the shoulder buttons, L1 and R1, which is obviously these 2 buttons here. But it's not really used in a heavy way, so you probably could get away with playing this. And that's really the only main issue I can see. There are text here, but it's readable, it's absolutely fine, it's totally legible. Press the X to search, to find stuff, and then you can obviously switch between items and things you pick up and weapons by pressing the L1 and R1 button, and it's totally fine. I guess maybe in the heat of the battle you might find it a little bit tricky, because sometimes you have to swap between maybe EMPs and health, or quickly jump to a bomb or magnets, I guess, by pressing the button quickly, so that might be a problem in the heat of the battle. But in general, I think this game's absolutely fine on this device, totally playable, and it does look really nice as well. Albeit though, that jerky scrolling is a little bit annoying. That's really just the game, nothing to do with the devices at all. Okay, next game, Bridge Strike. This one's certainly a lot more straightforward to play. This one will suit this device right down to a T. Okay, very straightforward. A to fire, and use the D-pad to move the plane. The only issue I could see is the fact that the plane is very, very small. But this type of game, it seems perfectly suited to the Super Pocket, probably more so even than like playing on the VS or even the EXP. It just seems perfectly suited, and obviously it sounds fantastic, looks really nice apart from the small sort of aeroplane, but other than that, really playable, and certainly probably what this device is perfect for is these type of games. Kind of quick, pick up and go, play games you can do in maybe 5 minutes, couple of minutes while you've got some spare time. Yeah, I'd highly recommend this one for this device, definitely. Okay, moving on to Citadel Remonstered, and this is definitely the star of the cart for the Super Pocket at least. I kind of felt this game works a lot better on the Super Pocket. It just seems to be a perfect fit for me. I don't think it works as well on the VS, because I feel like once it's sort of blown up to the full screen TV, the graphics look very blocky. But on this little device, it actually seems completely perfect. And I guess when you're playing, you probably want to crank up the sound a little bit and hear those monsters growling in the distance. So just going through some of the training levels just to give you an idea. Now obviously this is the default view, but if you press the B button twice, it should move the screen up to full screen. Like so. You can actually utilise the on-screen keyboard by pressing the select button down here, and that will bring up the on-screen keyboard. You can actually change the viewpoints on the function buttons up the top here. F7 is the default one that we're looking at just now. Press F8, you can actually get a full screen view like that, but obviously you can't see how much ammo you've got at that time, what your health's at, which probably isn't ideal. So I'd probably recommend keeping it to the sort of F7 or this view by pressing the B twice. It works really well, and you can probably see on this device, it looks fantastic. Now this is just the training level, and I would highly recommend starting on here just to get used to the controls and the like. But yeah, it's a great little game, and for me, I actually think this works a lot better on this device than maybe the XP or on the VS. This looks absolutely terrific. Plays really well. Now admittedly, you can obviously use the shoulder buttons on here for strafing, but I'm not really sure it's that great. If I obviously move away from these monsters, it's a little bit awkward to get to, but yeah, you don't really need to strafe. Obviously, if you want to try and dodge a lot of the fire, it would be very helpful to do so, but it's very awkward to get your fingers round to those L1 and R1 buttons to actually strafe. But anyway, still a great game, and I think it looks fantastic on the Super Pocket and plays brilliantly. Okay, on to the next game, which is Farming Simulator, the C64 edition. Now this game does use the L1 and R1 buttons as well, but it's quite a laid back affair. You're not under any stress at all, unlike obviously Citadel Remastered, so it's easy enough to utilise. You've obviously got 4 vehicles that you need to go between. You've got your sort of plough, which you would start with, which is obviously the red one. Obviously defaults here to start, and that's where you need to start ploughing your field in preparation to put your seeds into. Obviously you can do as much of the field or as less of the field as you would like before you actually plant the seeds. And once you've done that, you move on to your seeder, press the Y button, obviously that brings up the seeder, press the A button to activate, and you can put your seeds into where you've actually obviously ploughed the field. Pretty straightforward stuff really. It's good fun to actually play, and it's quite relaxing. But really, it's not much of a game, to be honest. It's one of those things that you can maybe just mess about with for a few minutes, have a beer, just put your feet up and enjoy it for what it is. But once you've done that and put in the seeds, you can then press the L1 button for your harvester once you're actually ready to go. But obviously you need to wait a little while for the seeds to actually grow. Obviously you can press R1. That is the tractor. Once you've got all your seeds, you put that into the tractor. It's easy enough to use those shoulder buttons because you're totally unstressed to actually do so, and that's fine. And it seems to work fine, and it looks fantastic on this little device. So yeah, this one is totally playable. Okay, next one is Planet X2, and I think this one might be one to avoid for the Super Pocket. Given the fact this is quite a complicated game, does utilise the shoulder buttons quite a bit. I'm not really sure it's one you want to play on a little device like this, but let's have a look at it nonetheless. Okay, just a little point before I go on. Obviously, that sound is fantastic. But yeah, I need to keep it down for the video purposes. The first thing I would do is probably change the difficulty to easy, just to get yourself familiarised with the controls, to get yourself started. So just keep pressing A till you get the easy mode, and then you press X to start the game, or you can change the map if you wish. Yeah, let's get started. So some of the controls are on the screen there and what you need to do, but if you want a full guide, please check my full review video. I'm not going to go through a guide in this video because it just would take far too long. But yeah, you can see you can press X to build, and you utilise the R1 button to confirm, and you can see here you've got an option of using the L1 button, obviously to choose the different things that you want to build, so to speak. So if you want to choose the missile silo, for example, hold down the L1 button on the back and press X at the same time, and that will start to build the missile silo. Now it's a pretty easy laid back game to start with, so it's not too difficult to utilise those sort of L1 and R1 buttons. I'm just kind of a little bit worried. Obviously the text is kind of small, but it's certainly legible on this little screen. I don't have any massive issues there, but if you get poor eyesight, you might see a little bit differently to what I do. It's certainly playable. It's a complicated game. I'm not really sure I'd recommend it for the Super Pocket, but there's no massive issues as such. I'll maybe try and avoid by pressing the L2 button, because that at the moment creates an issue where you can't actually quit the game, such as this. I think R2 button is basically the first button here, so you might accidentally press that, and you get this thing at the bottom here, quick game, yes or no, and there's no way to actually choose yes or no as far as I can tell, and the game's basically stuck in limbo until you reset it. You can't even bring up the on-screen keyboard because you press select as you normally would. You get the options to choose which one of your builders or vehicles are on the screen, and you can't do anything else. It's totally useless, and the only thing you can do is actually reset the game back to the beginning and start again. Hopefully that will get fixed in a future update, because I think that's a bit of an oversight in Blaze's behalf there. But apart from that, no massive issues, apart from that's a pretty tricky game to actually play. Okay, so on to Tank's Furry, which probably isn't ideal in one hand, but looks great in the other hand on the Super Pocket. Now it's not great given the fact I think it's actually designed as a 4-player game. And obviously on the Super Pocket you can only play one. We can't link up with other Super Pockets sadly to play a 4-player game, which actually would be a fantastic idea. Maybe that's something they can look at in the future, but at present it's only a single player game you can play. So the screen itself, you see it, the text is so small it is barely readable even with me. I've got contact lenses so my eyesight's pretty decent with them, but even like that you're like, that's not great at all. And then we got that. So it does look fantastic on this little screen, and you can play easy enough as the single player, which is fine. I think it does get a little bit boring as a single player game though. It's definitely, I would say, one of those ones you want to pick up and play as a 4-player game for the VS. But it's fine. Obviously it fills the screen really nice, it's really colourful, looks fantastic, and sounds great. It's very playable. Just kind of feel it's not perfect given the fact it's probably a 4-player game ideally, but still it's fun enough for a few minutes. Okay, so lastly we'll have a look at the Sword of Ayana. For me this was probably the best game on the EXP and VS, absolutely terrific. How does it work on the Super Pocket? Let's have a look. Now the text itself is probably not the most readable text you'll ever see in the world, but that's the same on any version. It just looks a little bit off. I think it's just the choice of font for me that just makes it a little bit hard to actually read and understand. So interestingly, the shoulder buttons can be used in this game, but it's not a necessity. You can use the other buttons totally fine. So you can pretty much just ignore those shoulder buttons and just use the sort of face buttons here on the front, which is perfect. But they are utilised if you want to. If you look at the controls, let's sort of jump in. So let's have a look at the controls anyway, and you can see here it's mostly A, B, X and Y that you will use. Mostly A and B I guess, and the D-pad. The L1 and R1 buttons are actually used, but you can get away with not even bothering with them. I think they're really just alternative buttons to the actual face buttons rather than being used in any way. Okay, first up, this music. How good is that music? Whew, I absolutely love it. Superb. So yeah, this game is absolutely terrific on this. Yeah, the text might be a little bit hard to read at times, but it's still really good. Probably better on the XP for me, but it's still really playable, really good fun, and it's still possible to pull off all the moves that you would in the other versions. Yeah, I love this game, terrific stuff. But it probably isn't as good as maybe like Citadel Remastered on this device. I think that one is definitely the standout game for the Super Pocket. It looks and plays absolutely fantastically well. Okay guys, that's our quick look at the Home Computer Heroes collection on the Super Pocket. I think overall it's not bad. I probably wouldn't overall recommend it for the Super Pocket, but there's certainly a couple of games there that stand out that play fantastically well. I really wouldn't buy this for Planet X2 or even Attack of the Pesky Robots. Probably not ideal, but they're certainly playable. I would certainly buy it for Citadel Remastered and even to play this game, Sword of Ayana. It's absolutely fantastic. Anyway guys, thanks for watching the video. We'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.